So we have hundreds of thousands of federal workers currently working for no pay, no money. The paychecks are not coming. Now, some workers were promised a paycheck. This is for exempted. They're exempted from the shutdown. Their agency is still funded. They can get the money. They were told they were going to get the money, but they didn't get the money, or they only got a part of it. And that adds to the confusion of what's happening here. That's exactly what some workers at the FDA, they're dealing with that right now in something they're calling a glitch. Apparently, it was an unexpected glitch. So imagine a glitch that completely makes your paycheck disappear. It's no longer there. So your category is exempted, but somehow, some way, it was switched in the system, and you're furloughed. Supposedly, even though you're not at home, you're coming into the office every day, but it says you're furloughed. So no money for you, or just a portion of your money. Now, the big question is, was this an automated error? Is this a manual error that someone's going in there and they're marking the wrong status? What is happening over at the FDA? If you know about the FDA, you understand there's probably about 10,000 or more exempted federal workers. They're able to do that because, one, they have an important mission. Someone still has to look after the medicine and inspect the food and all the rest of it. So someone needs to be there. Even if you have an understaffed agency, you still need to ensure that mission, it functions, it happens. So that's one reason. The other reason is they receive user fees. So they receive money outside of taxpayer money, just like USPTO is an example, Immigration Services. They got some crazy application fees, and they're able to fund some of their operations based on those fees. But this is one of the problems when it comes to running a skeleton crew. When you run an understaffed office or agency, you might notice that something is wrong. And that's exactly what happened here. People realized, like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't right beforehand. Before payday reached, they realized it, but there wasn't enough of them, and they couldn't do anything to solve the problem before people received inaccurate paychecks or no paycheck whatsoever. And this is not just about pay, but really anything that happens in the agency that maybe, it jeopardizes compliance. Maybe it's not legal if it doesn't happen, but you don't have the manpower. You do not have the workforce to address these challenges. Now, this is a huge issue aside from pay because it really erodes morale and trust, what little of it was left. So let's just pretend that we still have morale over there. It erodes it even further. It shows you that the agency, not only is your job, your position, your office, and your agency not quite as stable, but also it brings in the question of competency, right? Okay, so moving away from FDA, let's talk about some other workers that were supposed to get paid. Let's talk about the law enforcement officers, right? We were led to believe that a large portion of law enforcement officers will continue to receive their check. What we found out really is the vast majority of federal workers who are getting paid, they need to be in a specific job series 1811, which is criminal investigative agent or special agent at a lot of three-letter agencies, FBI, ATF, so on and so forth. Those are the ones that are actually going to be receiving pay. Now, you have intelligent analysts that kind of feed into the operation to make the whole thing run so that the special agents can do their job. Those people are not going to get paid. Admin staff are not getting paid. And what's more is you have people that are 0083, 0085. I'm talking about police officers, security guards, people like that. A lot of them aren't getting paid either. And the agencies I'm talking about, really, Department of Defense. Department of Defense has thousands of police officers. Think about the security gate person, right? The supervisor there, the whole operation there. Every military base, you have security guards. You have them guarding the gate, checking IDs. You have them around the base. And then, not just that, you have the VA, the Veterans Affairs. They have police officers. Something like over 4,000 police officers. Usually when you think of the VA, the first thing that comes to your mind isn't the police, isn't law enforcement, but they have law enforcement officers. Some of them are not getting paid. In fact, I've talked to a few that were not getting paid at all. Not even a partial check, nothing at all. Now, the individuals that are getting paid, some of them that are getting paid, it's the wrong amount or it's coming from a completely different bucket. Like, what are we doing paying people from this bucket when it usually comes from this. So it's a lot of mess that needs to be sorted out. I also heard about the law enforcement officers on the WS pay scale. So not GS workers, WS, which is wage supervisor. These people, they're paid on a different scale. Why is that? Usually it's your frontline, your first responder, right? So you're a frontline law enforcement officer. It's not the investigative folks. It's not the people that have a large component of administrative duties. It's people that are, like I said earlier, like the gate guard. So WS grade, a lot of individuals that are under that pay scale, they're also not getting paid. When it comes to these job series like 0083, 0085, you know who's gravitated towards those job series? It's usually military veterans. They gravitate because that's what they've done. They were in the infantry, artillery, combat engineer. It was a combat occupation, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were a logistician. Maybe they were HR. Doesn't matter. If you wore the uniform, you know how to do guard duty. You have experience doing guard duty, fire guard, whatever. So some people think that, okay, where are my skills? How do they line up? Oh, I should be a security guard. I don't think that's the right answer for most veterans, but for a lot of veterans, that's the first thing they think of. I should be a security guard. So they gravitate to this job series. Now, although they might be accepted, so they have to still show up to work and do their function, they're not going to get paid. Even though, to most people, if you ask them, do you think police officers fall under the umbrella of federal law enforcement officer? Then yeah, why wouldn't it? But in this case, it doesn't seem to be. So in addition to this, if you are concerned about the federal layoffs, I don't blame you. We see layoff notices going out probably, pretty much every week now from a different agency. And we have some employees, some workers, they're on leave. So how could this be, right? Well, maternity leave. Your little baby isn't going to wait for the government shutdown to resolve itself. The baby's going to come when the baby comes. So we have people on maternity leave that are getting RIF notices. People that are hospitalized in the hospital getting RIF notices. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.